everyone, it's Suzanne. Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the family read alouds we're going to do this summer. Over the past few months, I have been doing a family reads basket at the beginning of the month and then doing a wrap up at the end of the month. However, we're about to enter the summer season for us and we'll be camping a lot and there's many activities. I don't want to be tied to the schedule of doing wrap ups and TBRs. And I'm not sure if we're going to read more or less this summer. With that in mind, I thought I would keep it simple and share with you all the books we hope to read this summer, and we'll see what happens. One of the chapter book series we've been reading over the past few months has been Paddington Bear, and this is book number 4. And I wanted to continue reading these one a month because, quite frankly, I'm in love with them. I did not read these when I was a child, and my daughter fell in love with them on audiobook. And she got a set of them for Christmas and she asked me if I would read them. I'm so grateful she did, because now I find these are the books that I go to in our basket when I need a pick-me-up, because Paddington is always trying to be helpful. There's a lot of chaos surrounding Paddington and I find it always makes me feel good and I chuckle a lot while reading them. So this is one I definitely wanted in our summer reads basket, and we might read number 5 as well. If so, I'll let you know when we do a wrap up in the fall. The middle grade books that we were trying to read monthly, for example, Roald Dahl, we were reading one of his books a month. I'm going to put a pause on those over the summer because I want to add in some new things that I think will be fun for the summer. The one exception is the series that we started last month, and that is Dr. Dolittle. Now we're halfway through this book. This was the one for June, and there's 3 stories in each. I think these are a perfect read for summer. We're continuing on with those. And if we finish this book, we'll go to the next one in the series. There's some flexibility there, but I do want to continue because we really enjoy this book. I wanted to start the Penderwicks this summer, and I've been dying to read these for months, and this is all about summer, so I thought, what a great time to read this particular book. This is called The Penderwicks, A Summer Tale of 4 Sisters, 2 Rabbits, and a Very Interesting Boy. And these books are by Jeanne Birdsall, and if we love this as much as I think, I'm definitely getting the rest in this series. This is a really famous series. It was written in 2005. I discovered this series when I was reading an article. I think it was a review in the New York Times about the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street, which I absolutely love. Both Vivian and I love those books. We're looking forward to the next book that's coming out in September. Yes, they're here, right behind me. The reason the Penderwicks was referenced in that article is because this is another book that has a big family and is really full of family values and all the connections between a large family, like in the Vanderbeekers. In this first book, the 4 Penderwicks sisters are spending a summer on an estate called Arundel for the summer holiday. And they have a summer full of adventures, and they meet a little boy that accompanies them on these adventures, and it just sounds delightful. I can't wait to dive into this one. And I thought we would start this series this summer, and it's called Half Magic by Edward Eagar. And if you saw our Facebook haul, this was one of the series included in there. And I thought, well, let's try it out. And this series starts out with Jane. She finds a coin. And because her and her siblings are having the worst and the most boring summer, she makes a wish. She wishes that something exciting would happen. And apparently the coin does that, but it only does it halfway. And it sounds like there's some hilarity involved, and I look forward to finding out what. Another series that has been on my wish list for a long time and has been in my cart for months is by Elizabeth Enright, and this is about the Melendi family. And we listened to a couple of these on audiobook and I fell in love. This is about another big family, and I love the connection between the kids, and they were really creative in the first book. I think that's what grabbed me in the first book. They lived in a brownstone in New York, and the whole upper floor was their playroom, and all the kids were so different, and they had different interests and very distinct personalities, and they were, like I said, they were very creative, and I love the idea of creating that kind of space. It reminded me a little bit of Little Women when the girls were up playing in the attic, except that, of course, there are girls and boys, and you know, it was a different time. They're in New York, they weren't in the country. But that feeling that you get when they're all connecting and they're really being their natural selves and following their dreams and their desires. And of course, most of them are very creative, so I love that. And in this, their mother has passed away, so they have their father who's busy working a lot of times, but they do have a housekeeper, and her name is Cuffy. Now, in the second book, the kids move from New York to the country. In this one, Cuffy the housekeeper is away visiting a sick relative, and their father is in Washington. And this is all about them trying to make the house work like it always has. And they end up having a lot of experiences that simply sound like a lot of fun. I try to make my book outlet hauls timely so that if you want to order something from Book Outlet yourself that I'm showcasing, there might be a chance that the books are still there. Book Outlet, I find they go quite fast if they're popular books. I know it's fun though. I also watch other people's Book Outlet hauls so that I can see what's on Book Outlet, because if you've been on Book Outlet, you know they have a huge database, and unless you know what you're searching for, I sometimes get tired, for example, if I'm looking for middle grade before I even get through all the lists. So it helps to see other people's videos. And if you haven't been on Book Outlet, definitely check them out. And if you're making your first order, use the link that's down below, because then you get $10 off your first order and I get a $10 referral fee. And that helps me to buy more books that you'll see on this channel as well. So it's a win-win. Okay, the two books that I'm going to show you are, one is a middle grade book and one is a chapter book. I'm going to start off with the chapter book. This is Tumtum and Nutmeg, and this is by Emily Bearn. And oh my goodness, we love Tumtum and Nutmeg, and we haven't actually read them in at least over a year, possibly even two. I was reading a lot of them that they had at the library to Vivian, and we both adored them. And I was so excited when I saw that this was on Book Outlet. I definitely grabbed it up, and I thought this is going to be so much fun for the summer. They're calling this the Rose Cottage Adventures, but I know there's 3 books in one, and I'm going to tell you which ones they are. And they are A Christmas Adventure, A Seaside Surprise, and A Circus Adventure. I was trying to get my hands on the Christmas Adventure book, and it was only available used when I was looking, and it cost a veritable fortune. So, of course, I didn't get it. And I know we have read the other two, A Seaside Adventure, which we're going to read this summer for sure. I'll probably leave the Christmas one till Christmas now that I'm looking at it. And the Circus Adventure we read before. However, it was so long ago that it will be a lot of fun to revisit that, I'm sure. If you're not familiar with this series, Tumtum and Nutmeg live in what seems to be a mansion for mice. It's been inherited down through the family. And there's 2 little kids that live upstairs, kind of like I'm not sure if it's the attic or the upper floor. And the kids live with their dad, who is an inventor and very absent-minded and very poor. He even forgets to feed them. The mice try to do what they can to look after the children, but they're always having a lot of adventures, which is funny because Tumtum likes to stay home and have no adventures whatsoever, but he ends up getting pulled into them. It seems like in every book. And it ends up funny, and it's adorable. I don't need to say anything else. It's adorable, adorable. I absolutely love them. They're enjoyable to read. Not every book is enjoyable for a parent to read to their kids, but this is one. If I could do it again, I would have a whole set of Tumtum and Nutmeg books that I would start reading to my child at the age of 4, and then you could reread them throughout their childhood. And I think it would be a really pleasant tradition, and books that you could pass along to your kid as they grow up, that they could read with their kids. I think it would be so much fun. And we hear about Peter Rabbit all the time, but I'm going to be honest, I found these way more enjoyable to read. Just saying. The other book from that Book Outlet haul I mentioned that we're going to read this summer is also part of a series, and this is number 1 in the series. It's called The Magic Misfits, and this is by Neil Patrick Harris. I'm going to read you the parts of the back of this book because I keep forgetting the synopsis for some reason. This is about a street magician, Carter. He runs away, and he never expects to find friends and magic in a sleepy New England town. But like any good trick, things change instantly as greedy BB Bosso and his crew of crooked, carnies arrive to steal anything and everything they can get their sticky fingers on. Carter teams up with 5 other illusionists and they set out to save the town of Mineral Wells from Bosso's villainous clutches. This was one of 3 books that are received from the series. So if we like this, we have something to continue on with. The final book I'm going to show you, I picked up at a thrift store last week, and it's called The Evolution of Calpurnia Tate, and this is by Jacqueline Kelly. The reason I picked this up was the description on the back, which I'll read to you now. It's short. My name is Calpurnia Virginia Tate, but back then everybody called me Callie V. That summer I was 11 years old and the only girl of 7 children. Can you imagine a worse situation? And I thought it sounded like fun, so I grabbed it. And then I came home and I was on one of the Facebook groups for secular homeschooling families, and they were talking about science books for young children. And this is one that everybody recommended, and then there were recommendations based on this because this girl is very much into science. And the reason this excited me so much was because for those of you that have watched me lately, you know one of our summer projects has to do with science, and I wanted to read as many books that fit with under that umbrella as possible this summer, so it felt like it was meant to be. I'm only kidding. However, the coincidence was exciting, and I'm really happy to have it, and there's a second book, I guess, with this, as well as chapter book series that are based on this. I ordered the first one of that chapter book series. Thought it would be fun to add to our science basket this summer of fictional reads. If you've read this book and loved it as much as others were raving about it, please let us know in the comments below. And if you have any special reads that you're doing with your children this summer, please let us know in the comments below. I look forward to sharing with you how we liked all these books and a wrap up, probably in September. Please remember to hit like. And if you're enjoying my videos, please be sure to hit subscribe and the little bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And I will see you with another bookish video soon.